It is the Ides of March, so March 15th. I wanted to give kind of another update to the egg harvesting um, saga that continues. I'm really hoping this is my last video, but we'll see. Um, I went through the procedure, and to give the quick and dirty, I did it at the beginning kind of portion of February. The entire process took about 2 weeks from like start to finish, so not too bad. Um, Ended up having 28 eggs harvested and then 15 that were actually able to be frozen, just based on like their maturity and whatever other factors that they look at. I don't know. So I got 15 potential little ones in the freezer. Um, and I'm currently in the process of appealing my insurance company to let me do a second round, which I didn't expect to do whatsoever. But according to my doctor, like to be able to have the best chance of a live birth in the future, he really wants 25 to 30 eggs frozen just because like the quality of the eggs degrade over time. So 15 is still a great round, but would like to do another round to be able to just ensure like the possibility of having a live birth. So currently in that process, right after I had the harvest done, which was on February 19th, he submitted to insurance or treatment plan or whatever to request a second round, and they denied, and they just said like if you already banked 15, like what's why do you need to bank more. So essentially he called back and did a direct provider appeal, so he basically just like talks directly to one of their physician reviewers. And then they came back and had denied again and said, well, it's unclear of when you're planning on like going like basically doing hormone treatment that would render me potentially permanently infertile. Um, so that was like the last communication from insurance is that they denied the appeal again. So now I'm submitting a personal appeal that will combine like the information that my doctor provided, but then also saying like why, like when I would essentially go back on hormones, and then what that timeline looks like, and why it's important to do this now so that I don't have to go off in the future. So, gonna try that. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how it will go. I've never done an appeal before, but I'm gonna give it a shot because I'd rather just like exhaust all of my options before giving it up and starting back on hormones because I don't intend to stop anytime soon again. And I already the whole reason like I called right after my procedure, like the day after, and said, hey, can I start T again? And they said, well, we recommend another cycle. And I was like, shit, because I filled my prescription, so now I just have T like sitting there staring at me, and I just really want it, but I won't do it yet until I know for sure that like I'm done. So that's just taunting me. But in terms of the actual like process itself, I'll kind of go through like the actual process. Like I said, it was 2 weeks start to finish. So like on Friday, February 5th was when my cycle started. So they instruct you like at the start of the cycle to give them a call. So I called them. And then on Saturday morning went in for blood work and ultrasound. So the blood work, they were measuring estradiol level, and then the ultrasound, like just kind of seeing like how many like really small follicles are there, and if they're like ovarian cysts or anything like that. And all these ultrasounds are internal, which was really fun. So that looked good. Starting on, I did that Saturday. They called back in the afternoon and gave me basically like the test results, like what my levels were, how many follicles or whatever, all these things that I don't know. And then they basically call back with your instructions though too. So they instructed me to do in the evenings, but at like 7 to 9, I want to say, um, do shots, a shot of 450 units of gonal F, which is follicle stimulating hormone. And so that was an abdominal, like subcutaneous shot. Those are kind of the pens that I showed in my last video that it's like pre-measured. So there were 2 doses in each of those. So I did the first one that Saturday night, and then that I did from that Saturday until the following, or through the next week, and then Wednesday the 17th was when I did did that. So I did that for like 2 weeks, and it sucked. Like that one, I did not like at all. Um, it really caused almost like instantaneous like kind of cramping and abdominal pain. And the first probably 5 days, I was really uncomfortable. Just kind of just abdominal pain, but then also just really bloating. And I did not like that one. Each time I did the shot, I immediately like had a reaction, and I didn't really like it. And I did have just a little bit of skin reactions after each injection, which I have sensitive skin, so it was fine. But I did not like that one. Um, and then so I did that starting on Saturday the 6th. On Wednesday, I went back in for more blood work, and then another ultrasound. This time at blood work, they did estradiol as well as luteinizing hormone, and ultrasound again looking for the follicles. So did that, and then came back in again on Friday the 12th and did more blood work and another ultrasound. And that one was estradiol, luteinizing hormone, and then progesterone. So just keep upping the ante with these hormones, and then also vitamin D levels. Um, so just keep, and it was kind of cool though with the on the ultrasound, like you could just start seeing the follicles just like grow bigger and bigger and bigger and like more and more and more. And so they tend to like once the follicles reach 18 to 22 millimeters is when they know it's about ready to harvest. Fascinating. But I just kept seeing them get bigger and bigger, and I'm like, I can't possibly be growing that many little eggs right now. Like, this sucks. Because I could just like I couldn't really like palpate my ovaries at all, but I could just like feel them getting bigger and bigger, and it also like so much mental energy like going right to the ovaries probably didn't help. But anyways, so I did that on Friday, and then again on Sunday went in for more blood work and ultrasound, and then the following Wednesday again blood work on ultrasound. So almost every other day, every 3 days, was going in for blood work and ultrasound. So not fun. On the 12th, so that Friday, I started another injection, and this one was in the mornings. It was called Cetratide. So basically, like you're growing the follicles, and this one stops them from like prematurely rupturing, I think. Um, and so I did that for 12, 13, 14, 15, 6 days. So I did that one in the morning, and then the follicle stimulating hormone in the evening. So 2 different injections each day. And again, just like really just bloating, discomfort, abdominal pain. I had a heating pad, which seemed to help. That I like was sitting at my desk at work, just like hunched over my heating pad, just to kind of help with that. So then on the 17th, they instructed me to do the Lupron trigger that night. So it was 100 units and take it exactly at 10 p.m. Because then it's 36 hours from the time you take that initial trigger to the point of harvest. So I did that, and then the following morning went in just for blood work, no ultrasound. Just went in for blood work. And then immediately after the blood work, they told me to do another 100 units of the Lupron. So like 9 a.m. or something. And then Friday, February 19th, I consider that my preconception day. I went in for the actual harvest. So because I did 10 p.m. on Wednesday, it was 10 a.m. on Friday. So I got there about an hour early, and they just do the intake paperwork, start the IVs, that kind of stuff. And then actually, like you're under anesthesia for the procedure, and the procedure itself is like 15, I don't even know how long it was, like 15, 20 minutes, so not long at all. And then, recovery from anesthesia afterwards. So in total, I was only there for maybe 2.5 hours, and this was done at the clinic itself. And it was fine. Everyone was nice. I was by myself. Like one of my colleagues dropped me off, and then she like went and worked, and then came and picked me up. So she was super kind to do that. But so like I was sitting back there like in like the pre-op bay by myself, which was a little awkward, but it was fine. Everyone was nice. I think they had a heads up that I was coming. I think the only one that was a little bit like, was the anesthesiologist. Because I don't think he's used to doing this on dudes. So, that was fine. And even like my own process, like I don't think they see too many men in there, obviously, who are undergoing the procedures. But I just kept thinking to myself, like, if I were another patient, I'd be in here, I'd be like, oh, I wonder what procedures he's having. Not like, oh my God, he's going through the same procedure. I'm like, no. So that's kind of what I was thinking through that process. But yeah, they harvested 28, 15 are frozen, and now I'm in the appeal process. Hopefully that will I'll have some resolution soon, so I'll submit the letter tomorrow. And I got like some coaching from both like my specialist office as well as my PCP because I've never done this appeal to kind of what to speak to. And then the insurance company legally has to give me a decision within 30 days. So that's another potential 30 days off hormones that I'm not looking forward to. But I'd rather, like I said, get it all done and then go back on hormones and be kind of free and clear. So, and then the actual like freezing of the eggs, so they like immediately like they decide which ones are good and then immediately freeze them. And my insurance is paying for 24 months of storage. Otherwise, it would have been $75 a month out of pocket, which that's like a storage unit that you'd like put your stuff in. So I'm like, well, this is pretty important stuff, my genetic material. So I would pay that otherwise. But that was kind of the process. Actually, wasn't as bad as I thought. It's just aside from the discomfort, and then the day, or like the day of the procedure, immediately following, and like the next couple days, just really bloated. Because they like suck out the fluid, but then other fluid fills the space, so you're just like really bloated, kind of uncomfortable. I hate anesthesia because it always makes me constipated. Lovely. But otherwise, it actually wasn't too bad. The next day, like you can't, they tell you can't work that day because you basically would be working drunk. The next day, I got up and went for a pretty long walk, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I needed to. So it was good. But anyways, that was the process, and I'll give an update on what the decision from insurance is. Bye.